In this video, I'd like to show you how to query a file. In this case, I will use the sampledata.csv file, which is available with TextMaster if you click the Load Sample Data button. This file is just a basic comma-delimited file with the names of each column in the first line and a comma as the delimiter. There is no file size restriction in TextMaster, but for this demo we are using a small document to accelerate the process. Certainly if your document is many gigabytes in size, querying it can take some time. So the first thing we need to do is create a new connection. To do that, we will use the connection wizard. Select the document you'd like to query and click through the wizard. Most of the defaults are fine, but sometimes you may wish to change something. For example, it has automatically concluded that this file uses a comma as the delimiter, but it doesn't know whether the first line contains the field names or whether that is just data. In this case, we know that it does, so we'll check that off, and they will appear here. If we wish to change them for the sake of our queries, we can, but please note that this does not affect the data itself. Once you've completed the wizard, a new TMC object will be created, and you will be asked whether or not you wish to view the data immediately. If you click yes, a query window is opened with the basic query of select everything from this data file. Clicking execute or using the F5 key will bring up the data. If you wish to use a query wizard to help write these queries for you, you can find that on the home screen or using the little drop down here. With the query wizard, we've tried to make it easy for new developers to write queries. So, if you click the select and walk yourself through it, you will find it pretty easy. So, first we have to select the TMC object, and then the fields that we'd like to see, or alternatively all of them using the All Fields button. And then we can generate a where clause, which is a filter. So we can say, for example, we only wish to see the individuals who live in the USA. Now there are a few ways to do that. One would be country equals USA. Or you could say starts with and just put the U or the USA, and it would still work. But in this case we'll do equal. So postal code, and we'll do country as well as email. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, select and then the field names from the file where the country equals USA. And that's these guys. Now if you're wondering what the row ID and sequence ID are, the row ID is the line number of this record in the original file. In this case these are 8, 9, and 10. We can check that by opening the file. So this is John Doe, Jim 1 Doe, and Jim 2 Doe, 8, 9, and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The sequence ID, however, is the ID number in this results set, or subset of the data. So as you can see, this is the first record, and this is the third, and so on. If we wish to remove these columns, we can simply drag them off so that we don't have to see them. And if we wish to make everything bigger, the autofit function does just that. Now, if some of the values are cut off, like this, you can right-click the column header and choose Best Fit All Columns so that the window will attempt to make them all fit nicely. So, to those of you who are familiar with SQL, you may have noticed that the syntax here isn't quite 100% the same. For example, the country equals is more C# syntax. And if we were to put multiple things here, instead of putting the words and, we have to use the double ampersand. So if we wanted all the individuals in the United States who live in NC, we could say and province equals NC. Or we can say province does not equal NC to get that third individual, or otherwise negate that second statement. If we wish to make the whole thing disappear, we can either erase it, or we can put double hyphens to comment it out. Sometimes the green highlighting doesn't happen right away, but when it is green, it means that this line is ignored. So it is essentially as if it did not exist. Besides that, you can also use /* and then to wherever, and another /* to take that all out. But if you use the single quotes dashes, that is just for one particular line. Okay, so now let's assume we have this data. Oops. Oh, yep, this is correct. Okay, let's take this condition off. So let's assume we have these three individuals, and we don't want to see these columns. Which, by the way, if you want to bring columns back, you can right-click on one of the headers and choose the column chooser option, and then you can move them wherever you like. In addition to this, the data grid here has other neat features, such as the autofilter row, which lets you type filters for individual rows, such as 161 and NC. So it is sort of a duplicate of the above, albeit a little quicker, especially if you have a massive file or your queries are set and you just want to quickly play with the data. That being said, if you have a filter up here, you can click the Edit Filter button here and do an even more fancy filtering. So we could say address line is less than, equal to, and all sorts of stuff, add more conditions, group them, and whatnot. But for the sake of this demo, we'll just stick to the basics. So let's assume we have the data, and now we want to run this query over and over again. We don't want to have to recreate it every single time. To do that, you can use the Save As feature. And on my desktop, I will put demo sample data query, and as you'll notice, a new TMQ file is generated. So what this means is, if we close the application and open the TMQ file, we're back in the query window and we can pull the data again. So alternatively, you could have opened the query and then clicked the open button and found that TMQ file as well. So that's opening and saving queries. Now let's say we're happy with the data, and what we really want is to send it off to a colleague. So, or maybe even to print it. So let's say we auto-fit the columns, take the ones that we don't want, have the data best fit. Now we could choose the export data function, but maybe we want to see exactly what it will look like. So we can use the print preview. In this scenario, if we were to actually print it, we could switch it to landscape so that it fits nicely, maybe make the margins narrow, and add a watermark, such as confidential or draft or anything we can type in, and then use the print button. For the sake of the demo though, we will focus on exporting the data. So if we wanted to email it, we could use the email button, but the same options are available for just saving the file. So if we want to save it as a PDF or straight to Excel, we can, or even an image, we can do that here. Every time you select one of these options, you're presented with more settings. So in the case of PDF, you can set a viewing password or an editing password, including printing. You can set a certificate to prove that this document is authentic, as well as other metadata fields such as application, author, keywords, and whatnot. Once you're happy with these settings, you can save the document as demo PDF and view it. As you can see, it comes out quite nicely in Adobe Reader. So most of these functions are available in the batch feature, which is an advanced query editor covered in a separate video. If you'd like to watch more of our videos, please go to www.exnp.com/tm. Thank you for watching.